First, the American economy shrank by 1.4% in the first quarter, taking economists by surprise and stoking fears of a recession. At the White House, President Biden blamed the last quarter's limited growth estimate. He said it was affected by technical factors, among them COVID-19, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and global inflationary forces. But what's really going on and what can fix it? To discuss that and other big stories making headlines this week, we are joined in studio by Kansas Senator Roger Marshall. Senator, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here.
Tom, glad to be here.
So Senator, first before I start, I want to ask you about the tornado. There was a tornado in Kansas. I'm sure you've spoken to emergency services folks in your constituency there. Talk to us about how they're doing.
Yeah, Tom, it's very gracious of you to bring this up. Most importantly, no one died from this. Despite 1,000 homes being destroyed by an F3 tornado, wow. No significant loss of life. I want to shout out to the National Weather Service for once again doing their job, local TV, weather channels, radio, and then the local emergency folks. One of the most beautiful YMCAs in the state was destroyed, but no one was hurt there. The folks did their job, got people to safety. Thank you.
Senator, President Biden still talking about expanding welfare, raising taxes, still playing the blame game when it comes to inflation and the economy. And we got some really bad news this week. What do we need to do to get this economy moving in the right direction?
Let's bring Trump's policies back into place. Everyone talks about the Trump tax cuts and how that made the greatest economy of my lifetime. It saved the average Kansas family $2,000 a year. Now Biden's inflation tax is costing those same families $5,000 a year. So stop spending money. What no one's talking about is regulations. All the multiple regulations that President Trump rolled back in his 4 years, this president has now reinstituted them, and I think that's what's happening. My folks back home are talking about how all these regulations are strangling the growth of their businesses.
Senator, I have to ask you about this one. You know, so many people are dealing with inflation. They're concerned about the recession. This White House this week, they announced this Disinformation Management Board, which is got a lot of people scared about the government getting involved in regulating speech and infringing on free speech. Your reaction?
Yeah, they should be scared. This White House has no apologies about infringing upon your God-given freedoms, our constitutional rights. This is one more example of it. And I would push back on this administration and say, what in the entire civilization, what country did better when we impeded free speech, when we didn't allow debates and discussing issues with each other? Who did that lead to a better country?
Yeah, and any country all throughout history that has burned the books, they've never fared well by the judge of history. Immigration. Secretary Mayorkas was on Capitol Hill this week to discuss the border crisis. He basically said, you know, they're doing a fantastic job. Take a listen to this.
Yet, we have effectively managed an unprecedented number of non-citizens seeking to enter the United States.
All right, I just want to get this clear. Senator Warren is saying that the administration is drawing up plans for amnesty. DHS that has confirmed that Veterans Administration resources, I'm going to say that again, Veterans Administration resources may be reprogrammed to deal with illegal immigration. Is there a way that Congress can act now to stop this flow when this White House wants an open border? Is there anything that can be done?
So absolutely. Anything that President Biden wants to move legislatively through the Senate, we're going to insist that we get a vote on leaving Title 42 into place. I want to put this into perspective. Kansas has 3 million people. Since this president was sworn in, over 3 million people have been apprehended at the border. That's right. 6 tons of fentanyl as well has come across the border. Just this week, I learned of a young man that I delivered, a young boy, 15 years ago, died from overdose. Two young students in Kansas City have died. 2,500 overdoses from fentanyl in Kansas in the past 3 months alone.
Yeah, Senator, and the White House continues to ignore the fentanyl crisis almost entirely. They never talk about it. What will a Republican majority in the U.S. Senate do on day one to try to address the crisis?
Well, I think that number one is we're going to insist on trying to fund the border. Any type of policies they want to move across the line, we need to fund securing the border. President Trump asked for $25 billion. This administration is asking for $33 billion to help Ukraine. I'm all in favor of helping Ukraine, but the most immediate national security issue for people in Kansas is the southern border. So let's fund for that what we need to get done to secure a border.
Are you seeing resettlements in Kansas? You know, one of the things I talk about here on this program is border doesn't stay on the border, border comes to your backyard. We're seeing these secret flights, I call them Air Biden, where you know, in the middle of the night, people are being resettled, people being bussed into communities and dropped off. Are you seeing that in Kansas as well?
So of course we are, and I think it's hundreds, maybe several thousand people. What we're really seeing in Kansas, a bigger concern though, is the fentanyl and the human trafficking. In the very recent weeks, a routine traffic stop in Wichita, somebody had 7,000 fentanyl pills with them. Remember, one teaspoon.
7,000?
Yeah, one teaspoon of fentanyl could kill 2,000 people, right? And then the human trafficking, this is way underreported as well. Again, as an OBGYN, I saw too many of the problems from this particular issue as well. Basically, President Biden is funding the cartel.